No alarm, no boss texting you at 11 p.m., no Monday. For 300,000 years, humans woke up and just vibed. No job, no rent, no LinkedIn. So what did they actually do all day? Because it wasn't sit in a cave and stare at rocks. It was weirder than that. And honestly, it sounds better than your Tuesday. You'll spend about 90,000 hours of your life working. That's a third of your entire waking life. Gone to a job. Now here's the part that's actually insane. For 99% of human history, jobs didn't exist. Not a little. Not informally. Literally not a concept. No wages, no boss, no circle back on this. So in 1963, a scientist named Richard Lee did something clever. He didn't guess. He went and actually tracked how modern hunter-gatherer groups spend their time, because they still live close to how we all used to. Result? About 15 to 20 hours a week getting food. That's not a fluke either. Same story with the Hadza in Tanzania, the Ashe in Paraguay, groups in Australia, different continents, same lazy schedule. You work almost double what they did, and they're the ones we call primitive. Okay, but wait. Maybe modern tribes are just different from actual ancient humans, right? Fair. So don't trust the people. Trust the bones. When you compare old hunter-gatherer skeletons to the skeletons of the first farmers, the farmers straight up look worse, shorter. Rotten teeth from all that grain. Arthritis from bending over crops all day. They died younger. The hunter-gatherer skeletons, taller, stronger. Way less wear and tear. So whatever ancient humans were doing all day, it wasn't backbreaking labor. It was something else. Here's the proof that actually gets me. Deep inside Chauvet Cave in France, someone painted lions and horses on a wall 30,000 years ago. Not stick figures, good art. Shading, movement, perspective. Think about that. Someone crawled deep into a dark cave, lit a torch, and spent hours painting animals, for absolutely no survival reason. In South Africa, archaeologists found 100,000-year-old shell beads with tiny drilled holes. Jewelry. Problem is, the beach was 20 kilometers away. So someone walked 40 kilometers round trip, collected shells, then sat there drilling holes into them with a rock. Just to look cute. Someone else carved a flute out of a vulture bone. 5 perfectly spaced holes. That's not a survival tool. That's a musical instrument. A species fighting to survive every second does not have time to make earrings and play music. This is what happens when you have hours to kill and nothing forcing you to grind. Let's actually build the day. Dawn. Fire's still warm from last night. Someone throws on more wood. Breakfast is leftovers. Meat, nuts, whatever's around. And it's loud. Everyone's talking. Loosely planning the day because nobody's actually in charge. Mid-morning, some people head out to hunt or gather. But here's the twist. Not everyone, and not every day. If the hunt 2 days ago went well, today might just be a chill maintenance day. Sharpen a spear, weave a basket, soften a hide, no boss watching, no deadline. You do it because being good at something earns respect. And when the hunt does happen, to forget the movie version with spears flying everywhere, humans were persistence hunters. We'd just jog after an animal for hours in the heat until it overheated and gave up. We're basically the only species built to do that. We sweat, they don't. We just outlast them. It takes maybe 3 to 6 hours total, including the walk there and back. And it's not a guaranteed win either. Most hunts actually fail. You track, you lose the trail, you try again another day. Nobody's getting fired for coming home empty-handed. Once the animal's down, it gets carried back and split up among everyone in camp. Not just whoever caught it. That's not generosity, that's strategy. Today you share your kill. Tomorrow someone shares theirs with you. It's the original insurance policy, and it worked for a few 100,000 years. And by early afternoon, work is basically done for the day. Here's the part your brain can't process. What happens next is nothing. People rest, sit in the shade, groom each other. Actual hair picking, which sounds gross but is basically ancient bonding time. Make jewelry. Nap. Play. Researchers found hunter-gatherers spend around 6 hours a day in pure social time. Not working, not sleeping, just existing with other people. Why? Because there's no bank account, no police, no insurance. Your relationships are your entire safety net. If people don't like you, they don't share food with you when you're starving. So you invest in people. Constantly. Not because it's productive, it's just because it keeps you alive. Then the sun sets, and something shifts. Researchers who recorded fireside chats found that during the day, conversation was practical. Where the animals were, who saw what. But at night, over 80% of talk turned into stories. Myths, legends, jokes, tales from tribes 3 valleys over. That fire circle might be the actual birthplace of religion, storytelling, gods, all of it. Stuff you only think about once your stomach's full and you feel safe. Oh, and they didn't even sleep in one block like you do. Before artificial light, humans slept in 2 shifts. Sleep, then an hour or 2, just awake in the dark, thinking. Then sleep again. You'd call that insomnia. They just called it Tuesday night. So add it up. 4 to 6 hours getting food, 6 hours just socializing, 8 hours of split sleep, and a big chunk of the day doing absolutely nothing productive on purpose. Then everything changes. In the Fertile Crescent, people start planting seeds. Farming looks like a glow-up until you notice the trap. Farming feeds more people. More people means you need more farming. More farming means more people. It snowballs, fast, and within a few generations, there's too many mouths to ever go back to hunting and gathering. You're locked in. No exit. And it's not like anyone chose this on purpose. No one sat down and said, let's invent 40-hour work weeks. It just snowballed. One good harvest at a time, one extra mouth to feed at a time, until 100 generations later, nobody even remembers there was another way to live. And farming is brutal. Plowing, weeding, hauling water, guarding crops from raiders. Remember those skeletons? Farmers were shorter, sicker, and died younger than the hunter-gatherers before them. But the population kept exploding anyway. And with more people came specialists. Toolmakers, then soldiers, priests, administrators, and eventually, jobs. The idea that your hours could belong to someone else. So here's where it lands. You'll spend 90,000 hours working, partly chasing a retirement where, if you're lucky, you finally get to nap, hang out, and make stuff for fun. They were already doing that every single afternoon, 10,000 years before anyone invented a resume. They weren't rich, they weren't successful by any modern measure, but nobody was waiting on a promotion to feel like their life had started. You make art on the weekend if you have energy left. They made art because the afternoon was already theirs. We didn't evolve into something new. We just built a system so demanding that the way humans lived for 99% of our history now sounds like a fantasy. We didn't trade freedom for nothing, and we traded it for cities, populations, and everything modern life gives you. The only real question is, would you trade it back?